with the exclusive interview with Collegedunia.com. Dr. Prabhat is a postgraduate in economics and a PhD in applied economics. He has been teaching economics at postgraduate and undergraduate level for about 28 years. Dr. Prabhat has a firm belief in creative and innovative thinking. He has developed expertise on Bhutan's economic and social developments. Dr. Prabhat is a recipient of High on Passion Style Icon Award 2013 in education category by High on Passion Style magazine Jaipur. He is currently serving as the director of Jaipuria Institute of Management, Jaipur. So we welcome you on board, sir.
Thank you, Tanya.
Speaking about Jaipuria Institute of Management, Jaipur campus. So being the director of Jaipuria Institute of Management, how do you strategize about the key programs for the marketing and administration of your school?
Okay. Preparation of strategy is a collective, effort, and we do it together. So there is a stakeholder consultancy. So as a business school, you have to identify who are your stakeholders. So your immediate stakeholder is your student and your faculty, major stakeholders, and then next comes the industry. Industry is a very important stakeholder that a business school has. So generally, the institutes will confine to these stakeholders. They'll also talk to the experts, but we strongly believe that there is yet another very strong stakeholder for us, and that's called the society and parents. When you are strategizing something, you have to keep all of them together and serve their interest. So this strategy actually comes out for Jaipuria. The strategy comes out of its mission and the vision. And the mission, as we have defined, looks at the learner centricity, one, that we are for the cause of learning, and we serve the learning needs of all our stakeholders. That's one aspect of our mission. Another is we do have stakeholder perspective. So we are looking at, we are in the business of stakeholder well-being. So when we are saying stakeholder well-being, then that serves as one of the larger goal to achieve for the education. And the quality education, of course, is there, and continuous improvement. Those are the four elements that we enshrine in our mission, and the rest of the strategy will follow, will come out of these four broad objectives that we have kept for ourselves. So it will be a consultative process, bottom-up consultative process. So mission and vision is, it comes from the top, but the strategy is formulated by involving all the stakeholders together. So we strongly believe in collective, strategy.
So speaking of education, the education system in India and other foreign countries are structured very differently. What an inbound student gain from studying here in the Jaipuria Institute of Management, Jaipur campus?
Okay, so that's an interesting question. So the first of all, what they gain is the India story, because India is a very exciting country for them. It's a country all over the world people are look forward to, and given an opportunity, they would like to come and understand how things happen in India. So different walks of life and different stories. The India story is one thing that they would be looking forward to. Second, they would be looking forward to, as far as our context of Jaipuria is concerned, what we offer to our foreign student is called the social internship, because this is one area which they are very keen at. So when they come here, they would like to be associated with some NGOs and things like that. So in Jaipuria, we offer two kind of internship to our student. One is called the industry internship, which is of 3 months, and another is called the winter internship, and this winter internship is with the NGOs. So we have signed MOUs with about 16 NGOs in Rajasthan, and the students are placed in these NGOs as per their choice, and they do work with them for about 40 hours to 100 hours, somewhere between them. So foreign students, when they come to us on a semester exchange program or something, we found that they have very keen interest in social internship, and particularly they ask for it. So we have also designed a program called India Immersion Program for them. And this India Immersion Program includes social internship as very essential part. So they would like to see things happening in the field. So that is one attraction. Cultural assimilation is of course another attraction. So the student, they would like to interact with the student body. They would like to move around the city, see places.
Right.
Would also insist for visiting different cities in India. So these are the three basic imperatives why they would like to come to India.
So my next question would be based on your answer only. So like you talked about the education policies and education structures at Jaipuria Institute of Management. So how does the curriculum of Jaipuria Institute of Management ensure the best practice of industry?
Okay. So best practice of industry, there are many ways, but I'll tell you what we do here in Jaipuria. That will be the right way to answer your question. The first we do is that we offer some industry-run courses. So we have entered into MOU, and these courses are actually taught by the industry people.
Okay.
And the faculty is there to support them. So for example, we have KPMG running a course, BSI running a course, BSc, Bombay Stock Exchange Institute is running a course here, and Thomas Assessment, IBM. So IBM, we have 4 different modules of analytics that we run in our campus with IBM. So these are the courses where the faculty is also being trained by the industry to take some of the classes, and majorly it is actually delivered by the industry. That's one way of involving industry. Second is we have also appointed something very unique. You will see not in many business schools. It's called the professor of practice. So we do have some professor of practice who are the industry stalwarts, and we appointed them as professor of practice. So these professor of practice are straight from the industry, and they take up assignments, classes, not only just teaching, but they also mentor the faculty, and they also mentor our students. Then we also have a provision of at least 20% session in each courses have to be delivered by the industry. So that's another way of bringing industry in the classroom. Then of course the conclave seminars, there's a long list of that you can see. The important differentiator is that when you use or when you involve industry professional as mentor for your student. So here we have adopted a practice, not only that the industry will come and deliver lecture and experience sharing, but they will become a constant mentor. And this mentoring has to be done not only for the student, but it should also be for the faculty, because if you do not mentor your faculty who does not have direct industry experience, then you cannot create a very holistic learning environment for your student. So mentoring part is a big differentiator, and industry run courses is a big differentiator.
Okay. So I would also like you to enlighten us about how Jaipuria could be more welcoming to the students of different races or economic background.
Different races and economic background. Okay, so the first is, we do have students from 16 states of India. So we have a student from North East, Assam, Bengal, Bihar, UP, nearby states, Gujarat, Rajasthan of course is there. So a lot of student, kind of students are, geographical coverage is there. We also have very good balance of gender in the students. So maybe 50% girls and boys. So how you do is, there are many ways to do it. One is that, you have to create an inclusive culture in the campus. So it depends on the campus culture that you develop. So we have the citizenship pledge, and the citizenship pledge incorporates the diversity pledge. So it has to be inculcated in the culture itself that diversity of various nature has to be respected. So diversity is something that enhances your ability to do better in life rather than reducing your ability to do better in life. So that's the thought process you have to inculcate, and it can be inculcated through very many ways. So one of the way instrument that we have created is called citizenship pledge, code of conduct. Then we also have a course called professional ethics, which also includes module on diversity. So many ways you have to keep on talking about diversity and tell the student. So we also have student body like student council. So the student council also takes the pledge, and one of the pledge of student council is on diversity. So we have to start educating student and creating the culture. That's number one. Second is you have the second important factor is called infrastructure. So you have to have nice, good infrastructure, clean, hygiene, safety. Then only you can promote diversity in the campus. Otherwise, the students from other states will come and join your campus if the campus is not giving them good infrastructure, stay comfortable, stay. Food is a very important aspect of diversity. Because if you have the differentiation made between veg, non-veg, then you are in trouble. You cannot increase diversity in your campus. So this is one very important factor. It looks trivial, but it becomes very critical factor. So you have to have the acceptance culture in the campus that okay, food is a personal choice. Whether a person is a veg or non-veg doesn't matter. It's a personal choice. So these are some of the things. So it's more of a building of infrastructure facility. Providing them safe environment, clean, safe environment, and inclusive culture, and the celebration is again a very important aspect. So the campus which will celebrate diversity will be able to attract more diverse population. For example, are you celebrating all major religious functions in the campus, or all celebrations you do, or you are biased towards one or two? So that makes a lot of difference.
Right.
So we have, for example, in Jaipuria, we have tied up with one of the college in Assam, and we have cultural exchange. So this is as per the AICT norms of Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat. So under that, we opted for Assam. We said let's go to the North East because that's a wonderful culture to learn from. And then the students from there, they give presentations from our students, give presentations to them, and they are learning so well. So it's actually creating very inclusive. The more dialogue you establish, the better it becomes.
Why did you choose Northeast particularly?
North is colorful, combination. Their culture is very vibrant. Their food is very rich. Their history is very powerful. And if you look at Rajasthan, similar is true for Rajasthan. Rajasthan's culture is very colorful, vibrant. We have a very strong history. Food is very rich in Rajasthan. So we thought there is a lot of similarity between the two, region. And since geographically they are so far away, so let our student understand more about each other, because they will not get, all of them will not get that opportunity to visit, these regions and understand the country. So we thought it's important. We also have tie-up as far as Arunachal. You will be surprised to know. We have tie-up with Ladakh. So all these areas which are generally not accessible, and students hardly will find opportunity to go and visit these areas. So we thought of these areas that they will get this rare opportunities of interacting early with people from these areas.
That's very nice. So I was reading about you, and when I was reading, I found that you have special interest in student analytics and how learning works. So I want you to enlighten us considering the current situation of pandemic. So how do you think the learning is going to divert, or what are the few disruptions that are going to be in this learning industry now?
So student analytics is very important because if you really want your students to learn, and if you're really sincere about this particular fact that learning is important, uh, then you need to understand their behavior of learning. Because the students' behavior of learning has to be understood by the faculty, by the institution, and then only you can do something to make them learn. Often the gap in learning is because we do not understand how our students are learning and how they want to learn. So we have no information about it. And then we keep on doing the way we want to do, and that creates some kind of mismatch between the students, the way the student want to learn and the way we want to teach them. So and that the learning gap occurs. So student data is very important, and behavioral data speaks a volume about their learning. So we have to understand first of all, we have to understand this particular point. Second is how we understood the learning of student based on their behavior and other things is that learning has to be divided into three different phases, because it's a cycle that has to be completed with the student, then only the student can learn, right? So often we don't focus much on these aspects. So this is called one is called the pre-learning phase, then it is called the learning phase, and then it is called the post-learning phase.
Okay.
And if the institution fails to provide reinforcement in all three stages, you can take it for granted that the students is not going to learn more than 30-40% from you. But if you want to take this learning for the student to about 70-80%, then you have to do something in all three stages. So in Jaipuria, what we have done is that we have created reinforcement at all three stages. Like we asked the faculty to create flip video and give it to the student before they come to the class. So that's the pre-learning reinforcement we are doing. Second, when they are in the class, then you have to be very innovative, very pedagogical innovations you have to adopt. You have to engage the student for their learning. That is the second stage. And the third stage is that after the learning is over, the class gets over, then are you doing something for making the learning continuous for the student? So we have recorded the lecture and we have this lecture capture solution, and the students have the opportunity to access this lecture back, and they can see it as many times as they want.
Right.
So it's called the post-learning support. So if you do all three, then the students can learn better. So this is one that we have learned from the student learning of the students. Second thing that we have learned from analytics is that in your class today, if you look at any institution for that matter, almost about 50-60% students are first generation learners, and they are coming from tier 2 and tier 3 cities. Most often we think that the students are coming from tier 1 city. They are not. Actually, tier 1 city, they are coming. There are second generation learners, but now the students are also coming from tier 3 cities, tier 2 cities, right? In most of the institutions. And many of them are first generation learner. This means that there was nobody at their home, back at home, father or their uncle or somebody. They have not been to higher education. So he is the first one who has actually entered into the higher education. So the behavior and the learning style of the first generation learner will be very different from the second generation learner, right? Because the first generation learner did not know what the book is all about. They did not have any book racks or library in the home. Nobody is reading newspaper every day. There is no reading culture back at home. It makes a lot of difference on their learning style. So question is that as a teacher or as an institution, do we understand this background of the student? You cannot know much about the student unless you have the data with you, unless you start analyzing those data, do some analysis. When you understand this background of the student, then you also understand how to approach these students, and you also understand why a certain students are behaving the way they are behaving, right? So often we reject the student lot by saying, oh, they are not reading. They are not into reading. They are new generation learners, so they don't like reading and things like that. But what is the root cause? So the root cause analysis you cannot do unless you do some data analytics. That's the second thing point. Coming back to the COVID, the data analytics and student analytics is very important in COVID time, because to understand what are the fears of the student, because unless you know what are the fears of the students, what are the you cannot design your process. What are their choices given this whole background? So you need to understand what are their choices. How many of them would like to come online? Are they really comfortable learning online? How do they appear online? That is also a very important data analytics that you have to do. So
Right.
you will see that often if it is a class of 60, the faculty will complain that students are not opening their camera. So we don't know what they're doing. Are they listening? Are they not listening? They're participating, not participating. It's a big question altogether. So you can know all these, how effective your online sessions are. What are the expectations of the student in online learning? Are they really, do they really want online learning, or they don't want online learning? What are their fears? You have to go for student analytics, right? You also asked for the future,
Right.
post-pandemic, the future. So the future is very clear. It's going to be a blended learning. We accept or not accept, but online is going to be a reality, is going to stay with us. And the progressive institutions, even after the pandemic gets over, will be the one who actually will adopt this technology-driven learning into their fold, and they accept it as a reality.
Oh.
Right. So this is going to stay with us.
So what are some of the biggest challenges you see both for higher education in general and for Jaipuria Institute of Management?
Yeah, so the first challenge would be faculty training. So when I said that institution has to accept that blended learning is going to stay, technology is important, and technology-driven learning has to be adopted. So if that is a reality, then faculty training is very important. So when we talk about the students' acceptability for online learning, there is also a question of faculty's comfort and acceptability of online teaching.
Right.
So you do the survey and you will come to know that not many faculty is very comfortable teaching online. And given an opportunity, they will say no to online. Let's go to class. But class is important. We understand that. But if you are sticking only to the class, then you are missing, or you are not giving the full opportunity of learning to the student, because there are many learning which the students cannot do in the class. They can do only online. That's number one question. Second, there are many learnings the student cannot do online, they can do only in the classroom. So both have their own positive and negative. So you have to have a blended form so that you get the maximum best of the both the world, right? So I'll just give you an example. So I had this opportunity of listening to Professor Stiglitz. He is the Nobel laureate in economics, and it happened because there was a webinar, and my friend invited me for that webinar, and I joined. So if technology would not have been there, I would not have listened to Professor Stiglitz so easily.
Right.
I saw him on the screen. So if I waited for the Professor Stiglitz to come and deliver a lecture in my class, this is not going to happen in my lifetime, right? So why are we depriving this fantastic opportunity for the students? And there are many such opportunities which you cannot actually bring in the classroom. Likewise, the things that you do in the classroom cannot be substituted, like networking, talking to the friends, face-to-face deliberation. You cannot have it online. So you have to, even in the normal time, you have to have a blended form of learning that is going to stay. And faculty training is the key. So one of the major challenges is faculty training. So you have to have at multiple levels. You have to have, unless there is a good faculty training, this is not going to be successful, and the institution will face a lot of problem in the absence of good faculty training and onboarding of the faculty. That's a very important challenge ahead. Second challenge I can see is in terms of curriculum and pedagogy. So curriculum and pedagogy is so dear to any faculty in our system. You will see that they will not like to give away what they have been doing so far. It's so difficult for them. So you just make faculty sit and say, okay, can you cut down 10% of your content, what you are going to propose as a curricula? And at the end of the deliberation, whole day, you will be surprised to see that they have not been able to cut down 10%. Rather, they have increased 10% of the content, and they will say, oh, this is also important, this is also important. So for faculty, everything is important, and they would like to put in the curriculum. So the temptation of teaching is still not going anywhere, right? So it is still staying with us. So I can see this as a big challenge, that how you give up this temptation and make your curriculum more relevant rather than just overloading it with a lot of things, and how you are believing the fact that the students can learn even outside the classroom and of their own, right? So unless you believe that the students can learn, today the technology is so all pervasive, the students can learn even without putting it in the curriculum. They can learn at their own pace, they can learn at their own way, they can learn of their outside the classroom. So this is one. And pedagogical innovation is again a big challenge I can see, because new pedagogy is very important. The saying goes like, if the students are not learning the way you are teaching, you have to teach the way they want to learn. So the question is that, do we know how do the students want to learn? First thing. Second is that even if you know how do the students want to learn, then are we ready to accept that particular fact? Because that reduces the role of the teacher for sure. Because teacher would like to occupy all the spaces around them, because that suits them very well. But the whole idea is that they have to empty, they have to vacate some of the space and allow the student to take charge of those spaces. Right?
And sometimes unlearn few things.
Unlearning is very important.
Yes.
Very, very important. Yeah. And third challenge I can see is that, how do you assure learning for the student? What is the evidence that you are going to produce to say that your students have learned? So in times to come, the business school and if you look at new education policy, the way higher education is going to be shaped, the assurance of learning is going to be very important. So the faculty has to learn how to make your student learn. That's one thing. And second, how do you actually ensure and show or demonstrate that your students have learned, right? So these two are going to be a big challenge.
So any final words or suggestions you would like to give the current youth and the aspiring students?
They know their business very well, so I keep on telling them that just think that you are the CEO of your own company already.
Right.
They don't believe me, but I ask them quite often. That, can you name the company you are running? They said, no, I don't have any company. I don't have any business. How do you say that I'm a CEO? I'm just a student. I said, I can tell you the name of your company that you are running, and then you tell me how you plan to run your company. So the name of your company is your own life, right? So, and you're the CEO of that company. Right. So if my life is the company you're running and you are the CEO of that company, so give me the plan how you're going to run your company, right? And then you see, the moment you change your thought process like this, that your life is your responsibility and how you're going to take it forward, and you will have hundreds of plans. Nobody should come and tell you what to do or what not to do. So my contention is very simple. When you be a doer, not a procrastinator. So we think a lot. As an Indian, we think a lot. Our students also think a lot. They will keep on thinking, and do nothing. So it doesn't change them at all. So question is that when you start doing, you become a doer and you start doing. So when you start doing, and then the proper thinking comes to your mind, right? So,
Right.
the first thing should be the doing and then the thinking. The students starts thinking and do nothing. If they think and do, then it's fine, but that's how. So what happens is, if you look at your life, my life, anywhere, uh, when do you get the clarity that this is exactly what you wanted to do? When do you get that clarity? When you actually put yourself into it,
Right.
and then you realize, oh, this was not for you, this was for you, right? So the more you do, the better thought process will come to your mind, right?
Right.
And then you can get convinced also, oh, this is exactly what I wanted in my life. So what is the clue? The clue is not sit down and think. Yeah, of course sitting down thinking is important, but clue is start doing. The more you start doing, the more experience you get, the more clarity you get about life.
Right.
I also give suggestions to my student that you should read books. Be a good reader.
Yeah.
The more you read, the better you become, because there is no substitute of reading books. You have to read, and read, because that is what is going to change your path, right? And
Right.
these are some of the suggestions I give to my student. Rest they know. I mean, they're capable of working out things because they know better technology than us. They know the world better than us. They have better skill of talking to the people, because the language they use, sometimes we don't understand what shortcut language they use.
Yes.
And they know everything. So it's fine. They are much better generation than what we used to be. So they know everything. The only thing is that they should start doing things, reading books, and be little more skillful, useful for others.
That's nice. That's nice. Thank you. Thank you for your wise words, sir.